Oh, okay. Um, so I just again decided to go live very much on a whim because it's quiet at home at the moment. I thought I'm supposed to be going live every day, which I've been doing okay with, not quite there. So here I am again, and again, just compulsion, just going to go live. No, really, not thinking anything, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go live. What am I going to do? All right, I don't know. So I walked in, stood here, saw the paper, and just gonna start working. Experiment today. Experiment uh, for 30 minutes. Everything I do is is as important as every other thing that I do, if you know what I mean. So I'm trying not to privilege anything above anything else. And so every intentional act just becomes key to the work, whatever that is. And when I say whatever that is, whatever it's meant to be, whatever it's going to be, whatever it decides as it goes. So every act, what does that even mean? I don't really know, but I'm just going to have that in my head as I work. Okay? Ah, you're back. So usually most activities are plagued with doubt. Plagued is what's such a dramatic word. Oh, full of doubt. I mean, doubt. It's just a natural part of the old process. So it's just there, just kind of sits along with it. But you know, um, the thought here is that is it possible to act without doubt? Can that be a conscious choice? You know, I was listening to some podcast yesterday, and they were talking about how doubt. Galia, Christ, snagging into things. Uh, let's see. Ah, unbelievable. I'll see you in a few minutes. he saw that, right? Does not want to be in the video. Anyway, so here we are. All right, so that's it. That even this sticking down a bit of paper, it's all part of it somehow. Okay, and that's also part of the performing thing to some extent. Is that then you've got to. This is key, and I probably shouldn't tell you this because this should just be kind of happening underneath in my brain and not to you. But it's the performative thing. You see, so if I'm performing this, I have to look like I know what I'm doing. All right, kind of part of it, right? You can't kind of stand in. Maybe you can, but then it's also perform. But the moment this is on, it's a performing. It's a performing. All right, have to accept that. Uh, and then I've got to, and then, but I am telling you this, but it also becomes true. It weirdly becomes true. So that's what it is. Maybe the camera's not on performing to myself. I don't know. That's this whole thing of it's a bit of a Heisenberg uncertainty thing. If you explain what you're doing, then you don't know what you're doing. Then you can't. It doesn't make sense. You've got to just do, and then not stopping explaining what you're doing. Like people say, "What are you working at the moment?" I often am now saying, "I don't know. I actually don't," and that's a little bit true. Like I often don't know what I'm working on, and I feel like that's a big part of it. Is I don't want to know what I'm doing because it sort of weirdly undermines what I'm doing, and I think it's what the Fourier comes. This is interesting. I mean, this right now, I'm just thinking. I'm definitely, for some reason, exploring the idea of wounds. Okay, and I think when I say for some reason, I think it's a bit because it's something that's coming up. My newest drawings and my machine's behavior wounds the paper, and I've noticed in my old notes there's discussions about going deep to find those old wounds, bringing them to the surface. So there's something in there that I seem to be interested in. Yeah. So I don't know what it is, but you know what? Part of it is you also have to trust where it's taking you. And I don't know, like if I consider this, it doesn't make sense. But the beautiful thing is it doesn't have to. Okay. Still actually working. Okay, good. I hope the cameras gives you a reasonably good view on what I'm doing here. Otherwise, just see it as hopefully some reasonably just kind of noise and activity and just something in the background. Or just see it as enjoying each other's company. That doesn't seem so bad. There's a real equation I think that goes on here. You know, if you make the decision that everything is meant to be as it is, everything is intentional, or in this case, I've just decided that each action is of equal value as every other action. That means it's kind of making a big demand on the universe. It's like saying everything I then do, every encounter that happens in this space, which is fairly limited objects to kind of gather into the drawing or the work, is somehow, I don't know, it doesn't mean this. It doesn't mean that there's somehow some sort of, I'm expecting some sort of logic that's out there to be playing out now to make sense of what I'm doing. Or this does make sense, is really what I'm saying, is what I'm doing right now makes sense. it's somehow I won't say part of the plan of the universe because I don't think I can tolerate that kind of language. But it is saying that there's some sort of I'm expecting by this action, trusting. I mean, that's always the other side of the equation of faith, right? Of doubt is faith. You know, you can put faith into that equation somehow. What does faith mean? That is this belief that somehow there's something else going on, and I'm prepared to accept that to some extent. I'm prepared to test that, really. You know, test that. Is it reasonable to test it? I don't know. But can we measure it? Can we measure faith? I don't know. Even this snag, maybe it's meant to be, but I'm undoing it. What does it mean to undo? In this sense, undoing is also doing, right? If I'm claiming some things I'm undoing, but that's also doing because it's an equal action to every other action. So maybe it makes it meaningless. I don't know. So that's the questions I'm asking. That's the experiments I'm doing. Testing faith. See how it's snagging in there? Kind of interesting. That time I allowed the snag, a bit of wire, allowed the snag, but it's almost feels like in a weird way, in an interesting way, like an ancient circuit. Like somehow this is a circuit. This is the sort of. So what I like is, or what I get excited about is when an idea starts to, through this process, starts to sort of enter into it, starts to take hold. And sometimes that idea feels or bird elements. I'm not trying to make a bird here, but I'm really seeing one, you know. And now the question is, do I push it in the direction of that bird, or do I just kind of not? Do I not do that? I don't know yet. It's not bird enough yet. Really not there yet. But it happened last night. And if you can see behind me there, let's just take the camera around. So you can see that this bird here. Just thought to myself, okay, I had this vision that exploring the idea of wounds again, to have a hole in the paper and try and put the sewn object behind it like a wound, make it look like a wound. Try and describe a wound. Try and make it a wound. And it once looks like a wound maybe, but also because of the process of cutting and tearing and sewing, it starts to get a sense of being a wound. And then this one just of its own accord, I'll see if I can zoom it, became a bird. And I wasn't looking for that, but that is what happened. So just just letting it do its thing. Came a bit of a bird. But you see, the other thing to be careful of is not to accept it yet. Like I think don't trust that first inkling. Maybe is what my brain is telling me. Go, push it on, push it on. If it's there, if the idea is there, so we'll keep going for a while. And I'm thinking, try and think as little as possible. I'm talking, but just be guided by the material. Play, really. Just play with the material. Play with the material. That's the joy of it. Like I think I said the other day, material has its own logic, and especially because I've never sculpted with paper before. You know, uh, never something I've considered, and now it started. It emerged through my process that I find myself this, and I thought to myself, this must be sculpting with paper. Really, is what I must be doing here. And then once you accept that, then it's like, okay, what is well, not okay, but again, through playing with the material, I discovered that it's at least I can say for one work, it had its own logic, and I had to then. That was interesting to me that it had its own logic. Um, what's the point I'm trying to make there? So, not sure. I'm actually not sure what point I'm trying to make. Just play with the material. Material maybe has its own logic, and the joy. I think one of the great things about thinking through materials is that you don't have to use your brain so much. You know, you can just. It's a sensual thing, right? Very sensual, and this is a bit relevant. We live in a world where we kind of are moving away from the sensual as we go to the technological. Okay, if you look at us on a daily basis, our senses are the screens that we interact with are flattening. There's no buttons even that we can push. Children are typing at school, not writing. So even that nuanced motion of the hand, the finger, writing a letter is not there. We have this linear thing where you push the button of a keyboard, and as if by some miracle, when you push the letter H, an H appears on your screen. Nothing sensual really about that. Reminds me of a story. So there's a famous article. I can't remember who wrote it, and I'll try and find it. And I'll post underneath the in a comment or a link below. But there's a paper, you can Google it, called Death of the Sensuous Chemist. On a computer, it's just type it.
it's but very often those ideas would just take me somewhere else, or it's to the next bit of that's starting to pop into my head. Um, start it. Visit it if I tomorrow, see if it goes anywhere else. You'll remember the drawing I did the other day. Like, I don't know what to make. I don't know what to make of this. You can sort of make that form, some writing. Not almost got rid of it completely, but I'm quite like that there's this residual image, but I don't know what to make of it. Let's see. Okay. I think we're done. Or indeed. All right. Be senior.